Hello and welcome again. Good to know you're there. Thank you so much for your previous watch time. Thank you for liking and sharing, and also your comments. I appreciate them. I want to tell you that you're a great part of the success. Thank you so much. So we continue on what we already started. We started on our discussion with minerals, and then we've done a number of them. We talked about now on iron. Now we've seen that iron historical perspective, we've seen it, and then the sources of iron, especially green leafy vegetables and very green ones, spinach and the others, and they have grains and legumes. From animal tissues, you have from protein, meat and milk and cheese. You get that. But also in the last class consider the absorption. Now sequel to absorption is metabolism, as it were, not as metabolism, which traditionally or conventionally means the catabolic part and the anabolic part, in which case there's a breaking down first of what is ingested and then sequel to the building up again in the structure that is needed for each part of each cell or each tissue of the body. In this case, for minerals, the absorption, the metabolism is a bit quiet, it's a bit different. Now, sequel or after absorption, when it comes to iron as a mineral, the iron is bound by a particular glycoprotein called transferrin. Now, transferrin is not just a protein but a glycoprotein. When we say something is a glycoprotein, it means it has parts combining both carbohydrate parts and protein parts. But it's just safe to just call them protein, but technically they are glycoproteins. So the function is actually to wait and catch iron, free iron, Fe3 plus. Now when you consume food or substances rich in iron, the free iron that is absorbed from the small intestine, we talked in the previous video. Please, you want to check the previous video so you get to know what we talked about absorption. Through the intestinal wall, upper part, the jejunum and duodenum, absorption occurs. When it's absorbed, transferrin waits and catches the free ions. This free ion is now transported to the places where they are needed, mainly the bone marrows for the production or synthesis of hemoglobin, which is another protein that helps in transporting oxygen. Before we go there, let's do. And then transferrin still transfer this iron to the liver and spleen for storage as ferritin and hemicellulose. But let's finish with this. So transferrin does the job. How is it that these are able to locate it? The bone marrow, cells of the bone marrow, while it's carrying round through the bloodstream, the iron is absorbed into the bloodstream, and then transferrin picks them, keep traveling with the blood, and then these others have a receptor that is able to detect transferrin and iron. Now notice, when iron binds with transferrin, which is a glycoprotein, the name is, they form a complex. The complex is called, let me use this. They call it called transferrin ion or transferrin ion complex. Transferrin ion complex. So the transferrin ion complex moves on. These others have the bone marrow, the liver, and the spleen have receptors that are able to detect that this is passing. They call them transferrin receptors. Transferrin receptors. They now know this. So at this point, the transferrin offloads, in quotes, offloads the ion on with the bone marrow and the liver and the spleen, and then goes back to the bloodstream to pick up more iron, to form more ion transferrin complex, and then transport it. So it's just like a messenger protein, glycoprotein. It goes, picks iron, dumps here and here, and then goes back, pick more, dumps here and dumps here again. Now when the iron is dumped here in the bone marrow, it is used to produce hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is another protein that is useful in the transport of oxygen. So when you breathe in oxygen through the process of respiration, it goes in. The oxygen is bound in hemoglobin and transports it so that every living cells get oxygen. Now, another place where iron is dropped is with the liver and the spleen. Now, at this point, simple story, let me just go fast. The iron is now stored in form of ferritin and hemosiderin. Now, always note this: ferri, from the Latin word of iron, ferrous, and hemi, having to do with blood. So these are, you combine them, you get the meaning of this, like I've said in previous videos. Now, since the body conserves iron efficiently, and the body conserves iron efficiently, and since there's no regulated pathway for it, now note this: for iron excretion, there's actually a regulator. We'll get to it soon. However, loss occurs through the shedding. Now, how do we have losses? Losses of iron occurs through shedding of intestinal cells, cells of the intestines where they are shed, or through sweating, and then bleeding. Then for humans, you have menstrual cycle where you lose blood. But for animals, some animals, you may not have that occurrence. That's the slight difference. So while taking this and both combining what happens both in the human body and with lower animals. Now there's something, hepcidin is another hormone that helps in this metabolism process of dietary iron. What does it do? First of all, hepcidin is called a gatekeeper or iron gatekeeper. What does a gatekeeper do? A gatekeeper allows you to enter or stops you from entering. So that is what exactly it does. Hepcidin, which is in quotes a gatekeeper, will determine based on the quantity of or level of iron in the blood in the body, if to allow more absorption. So in summary, hepcidin would, when the iron in blood is high, it would obstruct more absorption of it. It obstructs more absorption of it. But when the iron level is low, it will open the gates and allow absorption and then transferring of iron. So you now see the same thing. The body itself has a way of regulating nutrients, what comes in, and keeps them in a certain balance so that we don't have an excess, we don't have, or a low. When you say low, you will get to know. So a balance regulated. So hepcidin is a hormone from the liver. It is called a master regulator of iron metabolism, controlling both absorption when it is low and storage. Now, absorption and storage, if I have to put it together, now when the blood level of iron is low iron in the blood, what it does, it does two things. Number one, it allows absorption and then also helps storage. But when it is high, in this case, it's what stops absorption because it's already high. And also on the other part, in the storage, it says no, please excrete more. Now to this, I will have to stop the curtain on this, draw the curtain on metabolism of iron. Now if you have a question or there's a part you do not understand, or maybe you think you want to make a contribution, please write in the comment section. Let's make this interactive. If you gained knowledge by this, you want to do well by sharing the video. Thank you for liking, thank you for sharing, thank you for your watch time, thank you for subscribing, thank you for following. Let's do this again next time. The next class, we shall be looking at the function of dietary iron. I'm sure you want to know the importance of iron consumed when iron consumed through the diet. Thank you so much.